Hello everyone, in this video we'll be learning about bricks, beads and bones, which is the first chapter of the class 12th history book. Hello everyone and welcome to my channel October Star Creating Toppers. You can find me at any of my IDs. First of all, what is the time period that we are reading or learning in this chapter? In this chapter, the focus is on the mature Harappan culture, which is from 2600 BCE to 1900 BCE. So this time period is very important and please note it down. Next is the extent of the Harappan culture. The extent is from the northern boundary of Manda to the southern boundary of Damabad, eastern boundary of Alamgirpur to the western boundary of Sutka Gendor. There are a certain abbreviations that you're going to find in this book. They are the before present, that is BP, BCE, that is before common era, CE, that is common era, C, small c dot stands for the Latin word circa, which means approximate, which means that we are not sure when the event actually happened. And they just rounded off to the point where they actually are not sure but actually happened that it happened around that time. At the beginning of the chapter, you will find this seal, and this is the seal of the unicorn, which is very important. This seal is given in many question papers and you are asked to identify it, so please take an appropriate note or look at this seal. This seal is one of the most distinctive artifacts found at the Harappan or the Indus Valley civilization. This Harappan seal is made of a stone called steatite, and many like this seal have been found at the Harappan culture. Before starting with the chapter, we should know why the Indus Valley civilization is called the Harappan culture and not the Mohenjo-daro culture or Lothal culture. We know that we call the Indus Valley civilization as the Harappan culture because Harappa was the first site discovered. But why is it that it is only called the Harappan culture and not the Mohenjo-daro culture or the Lothal culture? It is because basically the keyword is the term culture. What is culture? Culture in history is used for a group of objects that is distinctive in style and usually found together within a specific geographical area and period of time. So, the artifacts that were found in Harappa were similar to the artifacts found in Mohenjo-daro or Lothal for the fact. That's why we call it as a Harappan culture, because all the artifacts found were similar from Afghanistan to Gujarat. That's why it is known as Harappan culture. And this is very important to know. Were there other Harappan cultures before mature Harappan culture? The answer is yes. There were other Harappan cultures before the mature Harappan culture in the same region. These cultures were evidenced by the distinctive pottery, agriculture, pastoralism, and some crafts. The settlements in the early Harappan culture were small in size comparative to the mature Harappan culture, and they basically had no large buildings. Next, we will be learning about the subsistence strategies of the Harappan people. The Harappans ate a wide range of plant and animal products, including fish. So, when you're writing any answer like this, you are basically supposed to keep a note of the key points that you're supposed to write. For example, in this, you're basically supposed to note down the words that are in bold. When you note down what exactly were in the subsistence strategies, you can frame out the remaining words. So, archaeologists have been able to reconstruct dietary practices from the finds of charred grains and seeds. These are studied by the archaeobotanists. Who are archaeobotanists? They are the specialists in ancient plant remains. So, the grains found at Harappan sites include wheat, barley, lentil, chickpea, and sesame. I repeat again: wheat, barley, lentil, chickpea, and sesame. Millets have been found in Gujarat. Rice is relatively rare. You can also use mnemonics to actually remember what grains have been found at the Harappan sites. For example, you can take W of from wheat, B from barley, L from lentil, C from chickpea, and S from sesame to remember the grains. The animal bones found at Harappan sites include cattle, sheep, goat, buffalo, and pig. Again, cattle, sheep, goat, buffalo, and pig. These studies have been done by archaeozoologists or zoo archaeologists, and their studies indicate that these animals were domesticated. Many wild animals were also found, such as boar, deer, and gharial. We don't know whether the Harappan hunted these animals themselves or obtained their meat from other hunting communities. Bones of fish and fowl are also found. What are the agricultural technologies that the Harappans used? While the prevalence of agriculture is indicated by finds of grain, it is more difficult to reconstruct actual agriculture practices. So, the first point, that is, representations on seals and terracotta sculpture indicate that the bull was known. And from this, the archaeologist tried to find out or know that the oxen was used for plowing. Moreover, terracotta models of the plough have been found at the sites in Cholistan and at Banavale in Haryana. In this sculpture of the terracotta bull that we can see is also another picture that is often given in test papers, in question papers, to identify. And a question that can arise from this is that what does a terracotta bull indicate? So the answer is a terracotta bull indicates that the oxen was known and it was used for plowing. Then evidence of ploughed field at Kalibangan has been found by the archaeologists, and Kalibangan is in Rajasthan, which is associated with the early Harappan culture. The ploughed field at Kalibangan had two sets of furrows at right angles to each other, suggesting that two different crops were grown together. The archaeologists also tried to identify tools used for harvesting. Most Harappan sites were located in semi-arid lands where irrigation was probably required for agriculture. The traces of canals have been found at Harappan site of Shortugai in Afghanistan, but not in Punjab or Sindh. The ancient canals possibly silted up long ago. It is also possible that water has been drawn from wells which was used for irrigation. Besides, water reservoirs in Dholavira, that is in Gujarat, may also have been used to store water for agriculture. In the beside picture, we can see a reservoir at Dholavira, how they used to store water for agriculture. The next we'll be seeing is the Mohenjo-daro as a planned urban culture, a planned urban center, which is one of the most famous finds of the Harappan culture. This map shows the structure, that planning of the city of Mohenjo-daro. The most unique feature of Harappan civilization was the development of the urban center. Mohenjo-daro is the most well-known site from the Harappan culture, but the first site that was discovered was the Harappa. The settlement has been divided into two sections. One is smaller but higher at a higher platform, and the other is larger but at a lower platform. The archaeologists have designated these as the citadel and the lower town respectively. The citadel owes its height to the fact that the buildings were constructed on mud brick platforms. It was walled, which meant that it was physically separated from the lower town. The lower town was also walled, and several buildings were built on platforms which served as foundations. There was mobilization of labor on a very large scale, and once the platforms were put in place, all building activity, that is a particular work within the city, was restricted to a particular area on the platform. That is, for example, there are 4 corners of a room. You only do the cooking work on the upper right side or right corner of the room, and not at the left or back corner of the room. The settlement was first planned and then implemented accordingly. Other signs of planning include bricks. The bricks were either sun-dried or baked and were of a standardized ratio, which is 4:2:1. Its length was 4 times, its breadth was 2 times the height. Such bricks were used at all Harappan settlements, be it Lothal or Kalibangan. What is the difference between the citadel and the lower town? In citadel, the buildings were constructed on mud brick platforms. It was walled and hence physically separated from the lower town. The lower town, it was also walled, and it was also built on platforms which served as foundations. The drainage system of the Harappans. The drainage system is a very, very important part of the whole chapter, and there is 1 or 2 questions always coming from the drainage system, either in half yearly, either in your unit test, or in your class test. So we need to know what exactly is in the drainage system of the Harappans. The drainage system of the Harappan cities was one of its most distinctive features. The roads and streets were laid out along an approximate grid pattern intersecting at right angles. The drains were laid out first, and then the houses were built along them. If domestic water, that is water from the house, had to flow into the street drains, then every house had to have at least one wall along the street. Mackay, according to him, he noted that the drainage system of the Harappan civilization was the most complete ancient system as discovered. Why? Because most of the other systems or ruin or other ancient things were mostly found in ruins. Most of them were destroyed by people who had no knowledge why it is important to preserve ancient artifacts, and hence the drainage system was the most complete ancient system discovered. And this is another important question which usually comes in a source based question. Every house was connected to the street drains. The main channels of the were made of bricks set in mortars, and they were covered by loose bricks that could be removed for cleaning. For the covers, limestone was also used in some cases. House drains first emptied into a sump or cesspit where the solid matter settled, while wastewater flowed out into the street drains. That is, while building any house drains, they ensured that there was some cesspit or a sump where the solid matter could be collected. Very long drainage channels were provided at intervals with sumps for cleaning. Little heaps of material, mostly sand, have been frequently found alongside the drains. This shows that the drains were cleaned at regular intervals. Drainage systems were not unique to larger cities, they have been found in smaller settlements as well. For example, at Lothal, while the houses were built of mud bricks, drains were made of burnt bricks. There can be another question here, that were the drainage system unique to larger cities? And you have to give the answer as no, they were not unique to larger cities, and then give the example of Lothal. Then comes the domestic architecture. This is another very important question which is usually asked in exam. The lower town at Mohenjo-daro provides examples of residential buildings. You have to note down what are the important points, the important keywords that every point has to say. You cannot write any answer out of the air. You have to make sure that the keyword in your each and every answer is present. In the first point, you can see I have boldened the word centered on a courtyard. Centered in the point. So that you can remember that centered on a courtyard naturally comes with the word centered. So the first point is, many were centered on a courtyard with rooms on all sides. This courtyard was probably the center of all activities such as cooking, weaving, particularly during hot and dry weather. Another very important thing that the lower town shows is the concern for privacy. There are no windows in the walls along the ground level. Besides, the main entrance does not give a direct view of the interior or the courtyard. Every house had its own bathroom paved with bricks with drains that connected through the wall to the street drains. Some houses had staircases that reached to the second story or the roof. Many houses had wells, and they were often in a room that could be reached from the outside. Perhaps the passerbys could use it. In Mohenjo-daro, the scholars have estimated that there were 700 wells found. The citadel, it is a very important part of the Mohenjo-daro. In the citadel, we find, according to the evidence found in the structures, we extrapolate that it was used for special public purposes. The citadel includes two structures. The first is the warehouse. It is a massive structure of which the lower brick portions remain, while the upper portion made of wood decayed long ago. And the great bath. The great bath was a large rectangular tank in a courtyard surrounded by corridors on all four sides. So, the great bath was a rectangular tank. While writing about great bath, you have to visualize what kind of structure they are trying to represent here. So, the great bath was a large rectangular tank. It is rectangular in shape, surrounded by corridors on all four sides. Then there were two flights of steps on the north and south, which was made watertight by setting bricks on edge and using a mortar of gypsum. After that, they are trying to say more about the structure of the great bath. That is, on north and south of the rectangular tank, there are two flights of steps. Then there were three rooms on three sides, in one of which there was a large well. Then you have to imagine that there were rooms on three sides, and in one of these rooms is a well, and then water from the tank flowed into a huge drain. Then, across a lane to the north lay a smaller building with 8 bathrooms, 4 on each side of the corridor, with drains from each corridor connecting to the drain that ran along the corridor. The uniqueness of the structure as well as the context in which it was found has led scholars to suggest that it was meant for some special kind of ritual bath. Aspect that we are going to be learning is tracking social differences. This is another important topic that is usually given in the question papers. The question that is usually asked is, what are the strategies that the archaeologist used to find out whether there were social or economic differences among the people living in the Harappan culture? The first strategy is studying burials. You all are probably familiar with the massive pyramids of Egypt, which are contemporaneous with the Harappan civilization. Many of these pyramids were actually royal burials where enormous quantities of wealth was buried. The picture that we see here is that of a copper mirror which has been buried with the dead people in the Harappan civilization. Then comes what are the characteristics of what have been found at the dead place in the Harappan sites. At burials in Harappan sites, the dead were generally laid in pits, and the way the burial pit was made, there were some differences. In some instances, the hollowed out spaces were lined with bricks. These variations can be an indication of social differences. Some graves contain pottery and ornaments, perhaps indicating a belief in the afterlife. Jewelry has been found in the burials of both men and women. Excavations at the cemetery in Harappa in the mid 1980s, an ornament consisting of 3 shell rings, a jasper bead, and hundreds of micro beads have been found near the skull of a male. In some instances, the dead were buried with copper mirror, like the one we saw in the picture before. But when we look at the whole picture, it seems that the Harappans did not believe in burying precious things with the dead. So what are the important keywords or points that you need to remember here? The first is that they were generally laid in pits. After that, there was a the difference in the way the burial pit was made, that is, hollowed out spaces were lined with bricks. Then comes some graves contain pottery and ornaments. Then comes the jewelry. Then you have to remember 3 important things that were found at the cemetery in the Harappa. That is, an ornament consisting of 3 shell rings, a jasper bead, and hundreds of micro beads. After that comes the copper mirrors. If you remember these 3-4 points, then you can write the whole answer consisting of the burials. Another strategy which the archaeologists use to identify social differences is to study artifacts. The artifacts have been classified into utilitarian and luxuries by the archaeologists. The first category, that is studying artifacts, includes objects of daily use, that is, which we use on a daily basis in our day-to-day life, which have been made out of ordinary materials such as stone or clay. Example in this category includes coins, pottery, needles, flesh rubbers, which are found distributed throughout settlements. There are certain conditions for the archaeologists to assume if objects were luxurious, that is, if they should be rare, made from costly non-local materials, or with complicated technologies. Thus, little pots of faience, that is a material made of ground sand or silica mixed with color and a gum and then fired. These pots were probably considered precious because they were difficult to make, that is, with complicated technologies. The scenario becomes more complicated or difficult when we find that articles of daily use are made of rare materials. That is, Spindle whorls are made of objects such as fans, which is difficult to make, and spindle whorls are objects of daily use. And if we study the distribution of these artifacts, we find that the rare objects have been concentrated in the large settlements and they're rarely found in smaller settlements. And gold was too rare, and at present is considered probably precious. All the gold jewelry found at the Harappan sites was recovered from hoards. This you have to remember from where the gold was found at Harappan heights. It was found from hoards. Next, I'll be giving you a home assignment. That is, you have to write a few question and answers in your rough copy or whatever copy you have kept for your history. The questions are: what were the subsistence strategies of the Harappan people? Write a detailed description of the town planning of Mohenjo-daro. What shows that the Harappans had a concern for privacy in their homes? Describe the Great Bath. Distinguish between luxurious and utilitarian items. Mention any two methods adopted by the Harappans to increase the agricultural production. If you do these questions, you can have a clear view of what you have learned till now. Therefore, I suggest you all to go and write down these questions, as these questions are what occurs mostly in the exam paper. Thank you, and please look out for my next video for part 2 of the chapter Bricks, Beads and Bones.